The whole propaganda against marijuana is really just ludicrous. Anybody with research skills can disprove pretty much every argument made against weed. Um, One of the ones that always stood out to me was marijuana being a gateway drug. And when I talk with my friends, avid smokers, we all have that same thought. Like, not once have I ever gotten high and like, you know what, guys, let's go get some coke. Fuck a blunt. Stop rolling that up. Let's go get some coke, bro. Like, that has never crossed my mind as a smoker. And I've been smoking. I'm in my teens now of how long I've been smoking. Not once have I said, this is not enough. This isn't getting me the feeling that I'm searching for. That's never crossed my weed has always been she's always been good to me. Always. Even when I was on some Reggie Bo. It wasn't satisfying my soul, but it was sufficing. I ain't gonna act like it wasn't helping me because it did. But not once have me or any of my friends. I'm like, you know what, guys, this shit is not. I'm tired of smoking weed. Let's go get some acid. Let's go fucking snort a line of, Xanax. That's never happened. That's not. Weed. Weed doesn't lead to that shit. I will tell you, however, what does lead to, coke and fucking crack and heroin and all that hard shit is prescription fucking medication. Those are the gateway drugs. That whole propaganda to make weed seem like the bad shit. That's just propaganda. You got to think about this. You got to research. You got to know chemical compounds. You got to know chemistry and how it interacts with the body. And people who've been studying the body a lot longer than I've been alive tell me that the prescription drugs are in the same family of fucking cocaine, fucking heroin. The only thing is like one little chemical is taken off of. You have heroin, pure heroin. Some chemists take out a couple chemical compounds, and they rename that shit Xanax, Percocet. They just rename it. It's still heroin though, but they call it something else, and then they sell it to you legally. And then they tell you weed is a gateway drug when they're selling you the gateway drug. Like, what's more of a gateway than something in the same family tree? Think about it. It's like just because you take out one chemical compound that doesn't change what it is. It's still fucking heroin. What's more of a gateway drug than something that is the drug itself? That's my question. And people think I'm fucking crazy for smoking weed. Y'all fucking crazy for believing the government and these goddamn paid off doctors and shit. You don't think the medical profession is above corruption? Look at our government. Our government gets paid off by lobbyists and fucking corporations. You think medical people ain't gonna take a bribe? You really think people ain't cashing those checks? Get the fuck out of here. They enjoying that rich people money just like anybody would enjoy them rich people money. But that's my question. The gateway drug, the real gateway drug, shit that's legal. And you call me crazy? Come on. What's more of a gateway drug than the drug it fucking self? Most people who get addicted to prescription drugs and pills, prescriptions that doctors have written for them, is once they get off of it, they can't get any more prescriptions. They have to turn to an alternative. And normally, when you get an addiction to something strong like heroin or a cousin of heroin, just because you change the chemical, it's still a derivative of the same fucking family tree as heroin. You change the name, people get addicted to it, and then any addiction people tend to abuse, so they run out of cash. And then you go to cheap alternatives. People, why do you think fucking in the news now it's like heroin overdoses, white middle class families losing their sons and daughters to heroin, old people, young people. And it's like white families are coming out, pushing for law enforcement to be merciful and don't arrest my kid, but send him to a resource center where he can get his addiction taken care of. Now it's a big push because it's happening to the majority of white America. But if you look at the news, now it's like an epidemic, and we need to be doing something about it. Well, I've come across a couple studies that showed that in order to help some of these patients, these people who are suffering with the addiction to these, Percocet and Xannies and everything else, they are actually being weaned off of it by the use of marijuana. So marijuana right now is being a gateway out of addiction for people addicted to prescription pills and heroin and stuff like that. But they never report about that in the news. You never hear Nancy Grace bring that up. And you know why you never hear Nancy Grace bring that up? Why she never advocates for legalization and the use of marijuana? Because if you notice on her breaks on her television show, fucking prescription pill medicine commercial. You think those people didn't pay to have that placing on her show ad time and her be against them? That's how lobbying works. That's what paid commercials are for. To program you. Mind manipulation. You show an image and a sound to a person enough times, if they want to believe it or not, it still sticks in our subconscious. So we have medical journals, our government, law enforcement telling us how bad weed is every day, every hour. Weed is this, weed is that, weed is that, when it's really all the legal shit is what's killing people every single day. Tobacco, alcohol, prescription pills, fucking texting while driving, people dying from peanut butter. All these things kill more people every day, every year than weed has ever done in its whole existence. Not one case have a person ever overdosed off of weed. Another point, our body has a cannabinoid system in it. Receptors are built into our body to receive weed. God put this here for me, for you. He put this here for us, man. And they've made it illegal because there's truth. Bob Marley said the herb is the healing of a nation. The herb, the ganja. If I would vote for Bernie Sanders. He already has legislation decriminalizing it, making it legal in the whole damn country. He already has that legislation at the Senate right now, but nobody's voting on it. Nobody's supporting it because it's fucking election time. And if a fucking Republican who smokes weed privately agrees with Bernie, he can't vote or co-sign the bill just because he's a fucking Republican and it's, election season. He might lose his seat at the table to get bought and paid off by lobbyists. That's all that's all elections are. People are running a race to get into positions to make money off of lobbyists so they can be set, so their family can be taken care of, so they can have that fine dining experience for the rest of their life, live in luxury. That's why they fucking run. And when you just think about our whole electoral process, we got people in Congress for 40, 50, 60 fucking years. They old ass, so fucking behind on the times. They're still there. But we're worried about a president who sits there for 8 years max. When we have people in our government who's been there 20, 30 years. Old racist views, old racist legislature, old everything. Just old ways of thinking, old the time they grew up in, that's them. They're not living now. They're not thinking about now. They're thinking about preserving the world that they lived in. Conservatives trying to conserve some shit that happened yesterday. Man, it got me on a whole nother fucking topic. I didn't want to talk about politics. I was talking about fucking gateway drugs. Well, yeah, you see how I get to snapping when I get that good greed in me, man. And that's what happens when you smoke. More truth gets revealed to you, and the more bullshit you can call out. Gateway drugs, pharmaceuticals, smoke weed.